Good evening. Thank you so much to the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. What this means to me is that what I did mattered. It's been over 20 years. And truth be told, I didn't think anyone even remembered me. To my fellow inductees, congratulations, and I am so humbled to share this honor with all of you. I love the Olympics. I love the Paralympics. And I had the honor, privilege, and opportunity to compete in both twice. It's not lost on me that that opportunity does not exist for every Paralympian. It has been said that the Olympic Games are a moment, but the Paralympic Games are a movement. And I think what that means is that the Paralympic Games has the power to transform attitudes and perceptions about disability. It changes how we see each other. Paralympians have been redefining what is possible every day. Whatever you thought you knew about disability will blow you away. We teach the world that if limits exist, they only exist in your thinking and not in our potential. My teachers were my Paralympic teammates, and I'd like to acknowledge some of them this evening. 2022 inductee Tricia Zorn, swimmer Beth Scott, sprinter Amy Mullins, and my roommate from the Atlanta Paralympic Games, 8-time Boston Marathon champion, the one and only Jean Driscoll. But to be honest, way back then in the 90s, I wasn't even thinking about transformation. I just wanted to run. I wanted to compete. I wanted to reach my potential. And I wanted my running to stand on its own merit, regardless of how I performed on any vision test. For that reason, I made a very personal decision that after the 96 Paralympic Games, I would pursue making a U.S. Olympic team. Now, transition from Paralympian to Olympian was not seamless. There were skeptics on both sides of the fence. Some Paralympians said, if you can make an Olympic team, you shouldn't be in the Paralympics. While on the Olympic side, people questioned, blind girl in the Olympics, is that safe? But I didn't listen to any of that because I was just gonna chase my dream. And I had a lot of work to do. I had to reinvent myself from field events and sprints to a middle distance runner. I relocated to Eugene, Oregon. I got the cheapest apartment you would ever imagine. It was a dump, but it was across the street from the running trail. I worked part-time jobs, at one time making $5.18 an hour, no joke. I changed coaches twice. I changed events twice. And believe it or not, on July 16th of 2000, I stood on the start line of the women's 1,500 meters in Sacramento, California, as a contender to make the United States Olympic team. How do you make an Olympic team in track and field? Well, you gotta run the time standard, and then you gotta finish in the top 3. You have a bad day, you don't make the team. The gun went off. People have often asked me, what do you see when you run? I've had that question asked of me 1,000 times. I'll try my best to answer it. Well, I don't see the clocks. I don't see the lap counter. I can't make out the faces of my competitors. In fact, there have been races, I don't even know who I'm running against. Maybe that's a good thing. And if the pack strings out in a middle distance event, I actually literally lose sight of what place I'm in. But I never believed that any of that mattered, because whatever I lacked in visual acuity, I could make up for with preparation, hard work, courage, and just pure grit. So on that day, on July 16th in Sacramento, the pack did string out. And I crossed the finish line, but I wasn't entirely sure what place I had gotten. Here's the thing. My name was up on the big screen, right? Up on the Jumbotron, and the 35,000 people in the stadium knew that I had just made the Olympic team. My parents knew. Everybody watching at home knew. Everybody knew but me. I hadn't prepared for that. Now, here's the deal. What do, right? You can't celebrate because you're like, what if I was fourth? And so I'm like trying to be cool, right? I'm like putting my hands on my hips, and I'm like, yeah, I'm tired. Just ran a big race. And, I'm just like, but what place did I get? So I walked to the edge of the track, found an official, and I asked, what place did I get? Here's the thing. He held up 3 fingers. No joke. But he held them as close to my eyes as possible, which is just, anyway, story for another day. That's how I learned that I had just made the Olympic team. Now, having competed in both games, I have first-hand experience, and I'm well aware of the disparities, especially back then. And I know many of my fellow Paralympians here tonight know exactly what I'm talking about. But I cannot begin to express the excitement and the encouragement that I feel in what has evolved over the last 24 years. I remember what I was doing on June 20th of 2019, and I don't know if you know why this day is important. That is the day that the US OC announced they would rebrand as the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. And just last October, USA Track and Field announced that as of January 1st, 2025, they will now be the national governing body for para track and field. My response? It's about time. I have run for so many reasons. I've run just for the pure joy of it, to reach my potential, to make teams, to win medals, to make money, to support my family, to regain my health insurance. True story. But what I hope others take from my story, and I think from every Paralympian here tonight, is this message that disability does not preclude excellence. Thank you.